Hello, and welcome to my Pre-Algebra review series. This video covers Chapter 5, Section 9, titled Powers of Products and Quotients. By the end of this section, you will have reviewed the procedures for finding powers of products, including simplifying powers of products, working with negative signs, and reviewing the rules for raising a product to a power. Additionally, you will be finding the powers of quotients and reviewing rules for raising a quotient to a power. Please leave a like if you find this video to be helpful, and give your classmates a heads up too. It will more than likely help them, and certainly it will help this channel to be seen by more students. If you'd like me to cover any of the topics here in greater detail, please leave a comment here in the comment section below. I read them and do my best to address each as time permits. Please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell icon to be notified every time I release a new video. Thank you. Objective 1. Finding powers of products. You can use the commutative and associative properties of multiplication to find a pattern in the products raised to a power. So let's look at this. It says the quantity 4 times 2 cubed is the same as 4 times 2 times 4 times 2 times 4 times 2, which also is 4 times 4 times 4. Right here you got the 4 times 4 times 4 right there, and 2 times 2 times 2. And if you have 4 times 4 times 4 is the same as, here you see in parentheses, the quantity 4 times 4 and 4 times 4 times 4 times the quantity 2 times 2 times 2. That equals 4 cubed times 2 cubed. This suggests a rule for simplifying products raised to a power. So here's the rule. To raise a product to a power, raise each factor to the power. And that's what we did here. We saw that by we took the factors and raised them to the power as opposed to the quantity 4 times 2. So an example, let's look at the algebra part. The quantity A times B, the quantity AB to the power of m is the same as A to the m times B to the m. That's what we showed up in our example with the 4s and the 2s for any positive integer. So let's look at the arithmetic side. Is what we did up top. 5 times 3 to the 4th power is the same as 5 to the 4th power times 3 to the 4th power. Okay, example 1, simplifying a power of a product. So it says simplify. And it is, here's what we're simplifying. The quantity 4x squared cubed. So how do we do that? Well, the internal, everything here inside the parentheses is being cubed, raised to the 3rd power. So that means each item, this is like the A times B kind of thing, right? We just went through in the key concepts. So we're gonna break this apart by saying 4 cubed times x squared cubed. Okay, so now those are broken apart, and now we can take it and take that one step further. We can say 4 cubed times x. And we know that from previous slides, we know that power raised to a power is 2 raised to the power 3 is multiplied. So it's x equals 2 times 3 is 6. So the answer is a 6 here, x to the 6th power. But now we're going to raise the 4 to the cube power to being cubed. And that is 4 times 4 times 4. Okay. And 4 times 4 times 4 is 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So we have 64 x to the 6th power. Okay, here in example 1, check your understanding. They want you to simplify each expression. So why don't you take the time, as usual, and stop the video and try these. And then when you get back, we'll do them together. So, okay, now that you're back, let's go to A. So this is, there's no variable in here. There's just numbers. And according to our PEMDAS, I think we went over that before, where your order of operations. We can see here that the 3, there's nothing we can do inside these braces, the parentheses, because there's nothing to reduce or anything. But inside the next set of braces, parentheses here, we have the 2 times the 3, and that comes before the raising to the power. So this is inside of the parentheses. So we have to multiply 2 times 6, 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 is equal to 6, and it's going to be cubed. Well, what is 6 cubed? 6 cubed is equal to 6 times 6, which is 36 times 6. And 36 times 6 is equal to 216. Okay, because 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 30 is 80, and 30 is 210. So, okay, so now let's go to B. B says we're going to take 2p to the 4th power. Well, so we're going to take these separately. This is multiplication. This goes back to the key concepts. The 2 and the p are separate. Okay, so we're going to take the 4 times 2. So we're going to say 2 to the 4th power times p to the 4th power. And what is 2 to the 4th power? So the p to the 4th power is p to the 4th power, but 2 to the 4th power is 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So it's going to be 16 p to the 4th power. Let's go to C. Again, this is exactly like, it's letters, there's no numbers inside here. It's x times y squared to the 5th power. Well, we're going to treat them like we did the 2 times p to the 4th power. The x is going to be on its own, the y is going to be on its own. Okay? So, because we have to do what's inside the parentheses first. So what we're going to do is we're going to say x to the 5th times y. Okay, I'm going to say y squared raised to the 5th power. Okay, and that's going to be equal x, excuse me. It's going to be x to the 5th times y squared to the 5th. So when you raise a power to a power, you multiply the powers. It becomes 10. So y to the 10th. Okay, there's solution. How about D? 5x cubed squared. Just like the others, B and C ahead of it, we're going to take the 5 and we're going to square it. 5 times the square times x cubed. This time I'm going to skip that step of putting the parentheses and doing it. X cubed squared is x to the 3 times 2. Okay, when you raise a power to a power, you multiply the powers. So it's x times 3 times 2, which is x to the 6th power. And 5 squared, x to the 6th, is 5 times 5 is 25. And x to the 6th remains x to the 6th. So the answer is 25x to the 6th. Okay, example 2, we're going to be working with a negative sign. So simplify, negative 5x squared. Well, the only difference is we're going to still multiply. We're going to break it apart, and we're going to say, I'm going to put parentheses in here. I'm going to say negative 5 squared times x squared. Well, so now the question is, what is negative 5 squared? Well, since the negative sign is in here and you're squaring it, you're raising it to an even power. 2, 4, 6, 8, these are all even powers. The two negative signs cancel each other. If we are raising it to an odd power, 3, 5, 7, 9, then it would remain negative. But we're not. We're raising it to an even power. So it becomes 25 times x squared. Solution. Let's try this one. Now the negative sign is on the outside of the parentheses. So what are we going to do in this case? We're going to take and we're going to square what's inside the parentheses, and then when that's all done, we're going to take a negative of it. That negative has nothing to do with the squaring. We're not squaring the negative. The square goes with the parenthesis. Here's the parenthesis here and here. The square goes with those and what's inside. The negative sign is outside the parentheses, so you don't include it in the square. So it's negative 5 squared x squared. And negative 5 times 5 is 25. 25x squared. See, the negative just carried along because it's just going along for the ride. There was nothing to cancel that negative. The answer is negative 25x squared. Okay, example 2. Check your understanding. So it's your turn. Stop the video. Work out the problems. When you get back, we'll try and do them. Okay? Let's take a look at it. Okay, now that you're back, we're going to start with A. And A, now like previously we had the negative sign inside the parenthesis, so that it does get multiplied and raised to the power 4. So in this case, we have negative 2. I'm going to put the parenthesis around it. Negative 2 raised to the 4th power times y raised to the 4th power. And negative 2 to the 4th power is 16. It's an even power, so the negative sign becomes positive. So it becomes 2 raised to the 4th power is 16, and it's y to the 4th. Okay, let's go to B. Again, here the negative sign's outside the parentheses, so the power of 4 is raising what's inside the parentheses. So we have a negative, and we have 2 to the 4th, y to the 4th. And when we carry this down, we have a negative. Excuse me. I made a mistake here. I'm sure you'll let me to fix that. There's no 4 there. Sorry for that. It's 2 to the 4th, y to the 4th. So that ends up being 2 to the 4th power. Negative 2 to the 4th power is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Y to the 4th power. Negative 16 y to the 4th power. C. The negative sign is inside the parentheses. So in this case, it's going to be raised to the 3rd power. Oh, there's one of them odd powers. Let's do this. So now we're going to take negative. I'm going to take the parenthesis, negative 5. I'm just going to do it with the negative 5. Negative 5 to the 3rd power times a squared to the 3rd power times b to the 3rd power. So let's go through each one of them. So the negative 5 to the raised to the 3rd power, 5 to the 3rd power is 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. 125. But now a negative times a negative is a positive, times a negative is a negative. So it's a negative 125 times a to the 2 raised to the 6th power, to the 3rd power. And when you raise a power to a power, you're multiplying the powers. So a to the 2 times 3 power is a to the 6th power times b to the 3rd power. And there's our solution. 125, negative 125, a to the 6th, b cubed. Very good. So we just looked at raising powers of products, or finding powers of products in Objective 1. So here in Objective 2, we're going to find powers of quotients. And it says you can use repeated multiplication to write a power of a quotient. And that's what we're doing. You'll see it right here, repeated multiplication. So we're going to take 4/5 cubed, and we're going to say 4/5 times 4/5 times 4/5. That's repeated multiplication for our cube here, 3 times. And when you do that, we see that we have 4/5. I'm just rewriting it here differently. It looks different now. 4/5 times 4/5 times 4/5. Here they are, 3 of them. And that equals 4 times 4 times 4, 4 times 4 times 4, 4 cubed, over 5 times 5 times 5, which is 5 cubed. And that shows you. So 4/5 cubed is the same as 4 cubed over 5 cubed. And the key concept here is to raise a quotient to a power, you raise both the numerator and the denominator to the power. And that's what we did. Let's look at the algebra. A over b to the m is equal to a to the m over b to the m for any positive integer. M has to be a positive integer. Arithmetically, it's 2/3 to the 4th power is the same as 2 to the 4th divided by 3 to the 4th. Okay? Okay, example 3, which is a real-world problem. It says in geometry, find the area of a square tile. So this is a square, not a rectangle. But the process is basically the same, but it's a square, so every side is equal. So it says the A for area, the area is equal to s squared, the side squared, where s is the length of a side, and the length of a side is 3b. We know that. So we're going to square it. So we're going to say that's 3b times 3 over 3b's over 3, 3 divided by b times 3 divided by b. So it's going to be 3 divided by b, and I'm going to put parentheses on here, squared. Okay, that's each side squared. And when we carry this out mathematically, we're going to see that 3 squared is how much? 3 squared is 9 over, what's b squared? Well, we don't know anything more than it's b squared. And that's the answer. So 9 over b squared. So if it says here, the area of the tile is, I'm going to write 9 over b squared square units. Whenever you do these pictures and geometry, anytime you're working with a real world fact like this, where there's objects, you have to deal with the units. And here we're saying square units because it could be inches, feet, miles. We don't know what the units are. So we're saying square units. But that is, we're letting them know that it's units squared. Okay? Okay. We have example 3. Check your understanding. Simplify each expression. I'll give you time to do it on your own if you'd like. Now that you're back, we'll continue on. A is 1/2 cubed. And that equals to 1 cubed divided by 2 cubed. And what does that equal to? 1 cubed is 1. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 1/8 is the answer there. Now let's do B, and you notice right away that there's a negative sign in here. But we can go look at the powers, and we see the power is even. The 4 is an even number, so the negative is going to disappear. You only have to worry about it as if there's an odd power to deal with. So we're going to say, right out, we're going to say negative 2 to the 4th over 3 to the 4th. And that equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. And as we said, since it's even, it's negative times negative is a positive, times a negative is a negative, times a negative is a positive. That's how we get a positive 16. And that's over 3 to the 4th. 3 to the 4th is what? 3 times 3 is 9. And 27. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. Okay, 16/81. C, 2x squared, 2x squared, parentheses, over 3, okay, cubed. Well, everything inside the parentheses now is going to be cubed. separately, because the 2 can't be, you can't multi-cube a 2x, so they're all separate. So that equals, inside the parens, I can still leave the parens, 2 cubed times x squared, and I'm going to complete it. Squared cubed means you're going to multiply the powers, so it's going to be to the 6th over 3 cubed, and 3 cubed is, I'm going to say, I'll write it out, 3 cubed, okay, and that is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 times x cubed, or x to the 6th, I already completed that one, x to the 6th over 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 cubed. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So it's 8x to the 6th, 27. The only thing I could have done a little differently in handling this problem is when I dealt with this 6 right here, I could have written it as x squared cubed at this point, and I chose not to. I just went right straight to the x to the 6th. And then when we come to this point, then it would have still been x to the 6th. Hopefully that didn't confuse you. Thank you.